Bharat, you can start.
Yes, sir. Good evening to all those who are present here. On behalf of RD and SH National College, IIC, IQAC, DBT, and Departments of Physics and Accountancy, I welcome you all for a session on research proposal by Dr. Meenakshi Gaurav ma'am. To begin with, we have the welcome address by her dynamic principal, Dr. Neha Jagtiani. Ma'am, over to you.
Shall I
Thank you,
start?
ma'am.
Ma'am, before that, I will show a message from our respected
Sure.
principal.
Sure.
Department of Accountancy. Research is the need of the hour, and I congratulate both the departments and the DBT Star Scheme Coordinator for organizing this very pertinent webinar. Everybody must learn how to write a research proposal because that's the first step towards your doctorate or any research activity that you wish to undertake. Because research writing is completely different from how you prepare and appear for a theory exam. So I'd like to congratulate Dr. Mona Kejriwal, Ms. Namrata Ajwani, Dr. Meghna Chotalia, and the entire physics department and the Department of Accountancy for organizing this pertinent webinar because I'm sure it's going to be a great learning. Thank you for joining us today, and I conclude with the famous words of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru: "The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step."
Ma'am, you can present now.
Yeah. I'll present my screen.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Good evening, all. Before I begin, just one more thing I would like to say. Ki if you want to ask me anything, or if my voice is cracking, if I'm not audible, if my screen is not seen, just sir, you please unmute and tell me, because I will not be knowing what is written in the chat.
Yes,
I will
yes,
not be
yes, sure,
able
sure. No
to
problem, no problem.
let me know that. And in the first place, I thank for taking this initiative to teach the undergraduate students. I hope many of the students are here from undergraduate itself, isn't it? So yeah, students, we are very lucky to know R of the research. So today we have taken the topic of writing a research proposal, how a research proposal is written. But before we write the research proposal, before we learn to research the proposal, let us understand what is the research. Research. The term itself says that it is searching something again. Why to search something again when it is already searched? The answer is simple, that the research is never complete. There is some or other facet of it which is left unturned. There is some stone left unturned. And to explore that, we search the same thing again and again. I believe that here are the students from physics, biology, from mathematics, from accountancy. See, many facts will agree with me that many of the things are known. But if you look at it keenly, you get to know, oh, this I didn't know, I didn't see. And you didn't see, but then others also have not seen at this point, at this aspect. And when you bring it to the notice of the all, it becomes research. Research is exploration. And what is known today is as a tip of this iceberg. You can see that there is an iceberg. And you see that there are minute things floating on the water, which you call them as an iceberg. But really, if you look inside, you do not know how big it is. See, now there is one large iceberg, and you may assume that this is a large iceberg. but then a small white dot that you see, which appears small, may be big below. So that is in case of knowledge. That is true in case of research also. That what is known at this point of time is like a tip of the iceberg. And there is a lot hidden below it. What is a research problem? What is a research? Again, I tell something to you. See, always we have some ideal state in mind. अगर ये ऐसा होता तो it would have been still better. आज ऐसे है, लेकिन ऐसे नहीं. It has to be in other way. And there exists a gap. That gap exactly needs to be solved, and that becomes a good research problem. A research problem which is meant for bridging the gap becomes a good research problem. Going ahead, why to do research? Why you should do research? I said there is many of the things unknown. Let them be unknown. There are many ideal states. Let it be. These are what we today are. Accept it. No. We always want to progress. And so we need a research. I tell you one by one. To understand, to expand understanding and knowledge of your academic field, research is needed. If you want to expand your existing knowledge in a topic that you are studying, that becomes a research. Exploring research techniques. That also research teaches you. When you are doing research, there are n number of research techniques. Research methodology as a topic, if we take, it could be a topic of 15-20 lectures. It is that big. So to explore the research technique, to add new research techniques, to add a new way of judging anything, understanding anything, could be the research. Could be the research. Research is to define your academic, career, and personal interest. It helps you in academics, it helps you in career, and it helps you to meet your personal interest. Okay, of course, when you are studying your knowledge, the three purposes you come with. One is to strengthen your academic, second is to set your career, and third is to satisfy the quest of your knowledge, or to, as a personal interest. Yes, there are many people who just want to take the degree. Okay, just want to do the research, just want to explore the knowledge. That could also be the purpose of doing research. Establishing valuable connection with faculty, and yes, it is awesome reason to do research. You get well connected with your faculty, not only with your faculty, but yes, you get connected with the people from the different fields, and it helps you a lot. Yes, we have experienced it. The students start doing research, they start participating in the research forums, and when they participate in the research forum, from there itself they are picked up for the further research, for the job, for different kinds of project. Very valuable contact you develop by these means. At least the teacher remembers that yes, that student was doing this sort of work, and can I recommend this student in so and so company, because company needs so and so expertise. Yes, that is how you develop personal contacts with the teachers. Recommendation matters in any kind of field. Just wait, my phone is ringing, I don't know. I'll just cut the call. Yeah. Thank you. Again, why research? Getting academic experience that help to expand your resume, such as when you present in the conference, publish your work with research team, your resume get strengthened. Yes, I said no, there are basic purposes like to strengthen. 3 purposes I would like to highlight more. Your academic, your career, and your resume. I'll still define it well. Your academic, your resume, and your personality. These 3 aspects would be better to give the reasons why the research. Academically, you want to strengthen your knowledge. So do you do it? You want to strengthen your personality because when you do research, your confidence is heightened. When you do research, your confidence is heightened. Yes, it is true. Because you yourself working on something, you yourself has impersonal experience of something. You are going in the society, you are doing survey, you are doing experiment in the laboratory, you are backing your head behind it. And that is how it helps you to strengthen your personality, increase your confidence. Okay, and third reason is to build up your resume for your career. To build up your resume, the research helps you, because when you do research, research cannot be kept hidden. It has to be disseminated. And dissemination of the research occurs through conferences, through publications. Okay, and to do the research, you work with a research team. So if you're working with any established research team, it becomes very important point of your resume. And that is the reason that why you should take research. It develops critical thinking, it develops leadership, it develops time management, communication skills, and whatnot. See, in my college also, I initiated thought of research, and I see that FIS students are coming with awesome thoughts. Critical thinking. You work in group. So, and a group is represented by only one person. You learn their leadership. And even the team spirit also. Because if 3 or 4 students are working together on some project, and still you give an opportunity to only one student to present it. Yes, you are working in a group. That is your team spirit. And you are allowing someone to lead. That is also your team spirit. Time management, because your research has to have some milestones, some deadline. See, for example, now we want vaccine for COVID. If the vaccine comes 3 years later, does it have any use? No. So timeline is important, and you learn time management this way. Communication skill, of course you develop, because I told you, when you do the research, it is not to keep hidden. It is to be disseminated. And to disseminate it, you have to communicate either orally, verbally, or you have to communicate in writing. So it develops your communication skills. And yes, so now I come to our main topic is writing research proposal. There are many things to speak in the research. I'm just focusing on writing proposal, considering the perspective of the undergraduate student. So I won't be speaking very hi-fi. I'll be trying to get connected with you. First thing, why do you need to write a proposal? Anyways, forget about the research proposal. Anyways, when you want to propose What is that proposal? So you can have a proposal of your own thoughts. You have a proposal for the presentation of your own thoughts. That is what we call proposal. Proposal is getting some sponsorships. It is mutual understanding. Okay, that also could be the proposal. Proposal is a mutual understanding. Proposal is to get the sponsorship. Proposal is to get your idea appreciated. Okay, so I say I put a proposal. Can we do the same, something like this? That is a proposal. Proposal is to get your degree. Okay, you have to write proposal to get your degree, because to get the admission at higher institution, you need to convince them, or it is a requirement of that academic institute that you write a proposal of some research. So there you need to write a proposal. Proposal is written to convince your mentor for a research. Suppose now you are at undergraduate level and your college had some scheme of giving some funds to the students, or there are many funding agencies which gives funding to the students. You have to convince your mentor, somebody would be mentor over there. So you have to have a concrete proposal where you are putting up your thoughts in a concrete way to convince your mentor. Okay. Proposal could be the marketing proposal. Okay. To attract the customer. You can have a proposal of some product to attract the consumer. That also becomes a proposal. And there are different types of proposals. Okay. Now let us think from the academic point of view. Okay. From the academic point of view, yes. Academically, why do we need proposal? We need the proposal to convince your mentor to you have to write a proposal to get admission in good university. Okay. And the proposals are also announced, or proposals are also written to the organization which provides fund. Two types of proposals are there: solicited and unsolicited. Solicited proposals are the one for which a call is given. Okay, your college, your institute, or any organization who wants to give fund, they solicit the proposal. They invite the proposal. Proposals are invited to do birth survey for the academic year 2020 to 2021 in so and so area. The accepted proposals will be funded by so and so, like that. Proposal calls are invited, or they may be unsolicited. There are many organizations, government, non-government organization, to whom you can write proposal for their support any time. Okay. Let us go ahead. Okay, research proposals at undergraduate level. Of course, you can look for solicited, unsolicited proposals that you can write. You can Google now. That Google Baba is in your hand and it gives you answer for so many things. So you can find out the organizations which are giving calls or which are calling proposals throughout the years, throughout the year in different areas. Some area might be of your interest, and you can get into, you can write your research thought to them and they can provide you fund. Again, I am going ahead. Why will you, at undergraduate, why will you write the research proposal? You will write a research proposal as a part of your academic program. Okay. For your degree itself, for many students, it is a part of their curriculum. Research is a part of their curriculum. They have to do one project for which they have to submit a proposal, and then based on which they have to do the project ahead. So as a part of your academic program, you have to do a research, or you have to write a proposal. You might have to write a proposal to participate in the competition. And yes, Mumbai University is inviting the proposals this year as a part of the research competition, since it is going to be all online and you cannot go and work in the laboratory. So university has taken a decision to invite the proposal. We can have a different meet on the same, or university is also calling one workshop for this. So I do not mainly stuck to this point itself. In general, I'll speak. Yes, but to participate in the competition, the proposals might be invited. To become a part of a research team, the proposal could be invited. Your teacher might have some project and teacher might want to select some students, or teacher might want to initiate some project, but she want to see how the students, or she or he want to know what your research thoughts are, for which she can support. She can invite the research proposals. You might have to write the proposal to get internship. And yes, of course, the degree is not to your bookish knowledge. In the degree, it is well appreciated if you do internship by your own. Though it is not part of your curriculum, but it will be appreciated more if you do internship by your own. So for that internship also, those who are providing you internship may ask you to write a proposal. And yes, there are many such reasons. You can find the reason, you can create a reason to write a proposal. You create a reason to write a proposal. Let us look at the life cycle of the project, how any project is built up. Okay, so for a project, there is a pre-project step. So in a pre-project step, there is an identification of a problem, its need, its feasibility. You have to look for who are the stakeholders who are getting benefited from it, etc., etc. Once you have identified the problem, you have to look into the literature, you have to consult with the experts, you have to narrow down your problem, you have to pinpoint your problem. That is the pre-project stage. You have to look for the feasibility, means how the work you want to do would be feasible, how much fund is needed. Okay, if fund is needed, to whom you can convince. Before you begin, you need to plan your program. Okay, so all that is a part of pre-project stage. Then comes that all you will think before you are designing. Then project development. Now, once you get the research problem, you have narrowed down the problem, you have looked for the feasibility, you have looked for the research problem, you have taken care of the stakeholders. After that, the project development. Now you start incubating the project, developing the project. Okay, now you write a research proposal. You justify the fund. Because in the pre-project fund, you have already thought of the estimation. Whatever you have estimated, you have to justify in the project development stage. You have to decide the timeline. You have to give your constructive plan. That all comes in the project development. Then project implementation. Actually, you start working onto it. You start getting the data. You get the data. You analyze the data. You interpret the data. You create collaborations for implementation of the project. So and so. It comes in the third stage. And then the last stage comes, that is the project completion, where you write the project and you close the contract. This is general life cycle of the research project. Now I am coming to the point of the components of the research problem or research proposal, not problem, research proposal. When you write the research proposal, now so far I told you that you need to know why to write research proposal and why to do the research. Once it has been decided that you have to do a research and to get the permission for the research, you have to write a research proposal. Okay. Now here in the department also, if you want to do work in the laboratory, you have to convince your head of the department that you are working on this project and you need to work in the laboratory, you need this glassware, you need these chemicals, you need to use this instrument. The head will ask you, why do you need? Give me in writing. So that is a writing proposal itself. But then it has some formal way of writing the proposal that will look. So the first thing comes the title. I'm just telling you the components in this slide and then I'll elaborate. Okay. Then you have to write into this. These headings need not be the same every time. It might change. The headings might change depending upon your university, your sponsor, or the one who is funding, or your department, etc. But generally, these things are fitted somewhere or other when you write the research proposal. So title, introduction, literature review, rationale, objectives, hypothesis, research design, expected outcome, timeline, cost benefit analysis, references, etc., etc. are the research components. All these are parts of the research proposal. The heading might differ from organization to organization. Okay. Let us talk about the beginning. Okay. When you begin your research, okay, it has to be clear and coherent. Okay. When you are writing research proposal, don't confuse your reader with unclear ideas or an illogical organized structure. It should be organized well and your ideas should be clear without confusing the reader. It has to have a very clear, very much clarity into it. Then it has to be concise and courteous. The way you write, it has to be concise and courteous. Don't annoy your reader with clutter, unnecessary padding, inappropriate tone, or hard to read formatting. Simple sentences, uniform formatting is needed. Concrete and complete. Avoid vague generalities. Don't give very vague general statement. Give specific information in your research purpose. Don't leave out necessary information. Complete information, but still with appropriate information, avoiding inappropriate padding, with appropriate tone you have to put forth. It has to be correct. Don't undermine your professional credibility by neglecting grammar, spelling. Many times we are expert in that, but we neglect grammar, spelling, etc. And thereby we distract the reader. Okay. So try to avoid all these things. It has to be clear, coherent, concise, courteous, concrete, complete, correct. All these things should be kept in mind when you write a research proposal. You may be good in writing essay. You may have fantastic vocabulary. You may be very expert in playing with the words. But keep in mind, when research is written, whether it is a proposal or your research publication. It has to have all these 7 C's. I'll say that these are 7 C's. Very simple, clear information you have to give. I come to the components now. Title. How the title should be. Title has to be catchy. Because when I read a title, I should feel like reading, oh, let's see what is there. But still, it has to be complete. Through the title itself, your research thought must be reflected. It should be complete, clear, but still concise, in fewer words. Okay. Giving information on a title itself would be again elaborate, but I tell you here that title is like how you dress up, your first expression. And you always bother about your first expression, isn't it? If you are meeting someone first time, you see to that your appearance is good. And your appearance is giving the, it should give the idea about your personality to the person. Most importantly, when you are meeting a person from your career point of perspective. So you want to exhibit those things from your body language. And yes, title is exactly the same, the way you dress up. So if it is too jazzy, too gorgeous, gaudy, I mean to say, then that doesn't look formal. That doesn't look formal. But so here, but still your personality should be catchy. Same way your title should be catchy, complete, clear, and concise. I have put a lot of text onto this slide, but just I want to give one example of it. Effective title has several characteristics. Those characteristics, just I'm telling you. No abbreviations are in the title. No abbreviations in the title. Use words that create a positive impression and stimulate readers' interest. So the words should not give negative impression. They should give positive impression. Okay. Use current. See now, just I tell you, okay, everybody is now using different, like we are on the mobile all the time. We keep screening YouTube news, YouTube videos, or we keep on watching, reading news on the Google or in the newspaper on the different media. And on the Facebook also, you see the titles, okay, how catchy they are made so that we open the document. Of course, we are not to make jazzy that way. We have to give many times those titles are distracting. But here the title is formal, giving positive impression and stimulate the reader's interest. Use current nomenclature from the field of the study. Identify key variable, both dependent and independent. I'll keep this point aside. Okay. Hypothesis and all those things I have put up, but I keep this point aside. The important thing that don't use abbreviations. Clear, complete, catchy, concise, that I already told you. Should create the positive impression in the reader and stimulate the reader to read it further. And it has to be shorter, 10 to 15 words. Do not include the word study of, analysis of. Generally, this is the way how the titles are framed, but then this is not the correct way of constructing title. Study of the behavior of the animal, study of behavior of the animal, study of market strategy, okay, analysis of so and so. No, avoid, because most of the titles start that way. Many beginners, rather I correct myself, that I'll say that many beginners start the title that way, which makes the title wordy unnecessarily. And we have to conserve these words to use it for at right place. Okay. Title are usually in the form of phrases, but can also be in the form of a question also. Okay. Actually, I have not put any examples onto it, but yes, it could be a question also. Just I'm trying to create a question. See, now many news are coming about the vaccine. Okay. I take Covishield and Covaxin. Selecting vaccine, colon, Covishield, Covaxin, a question mark. So my research is about the selection of the vaccine. What to select, Covishield or Covaxin? And I have put a question mark. That is a catchy title. And it is also telling the reader what there are a lot many things hidden. I just, without thinking, I have given you the example. But yes, this is what I wanted to convey. Correct grammar, all those kind of things, formatting is given here. I leave this. Yes. Now 4 forms of titles I have given for the same topic. Benefits of meditation for the nursing profession, a quantitative investigation. The title for the same kind of research I have given in the other way, why mindful nurses make the best communicator. The third title I have given for the same research, meditation gurus. Sir, if I am exceeding time, if you want me to hurry up, you just tell me.
No, you can exceed.
Then 4th title, nurses on the move, a quantitative report on how meditation can improve nurse performance. Let us see what every title reflects. Sorry. So, yeah, if you look at the first title, it describes the topic and the method of the study, but is not particularly catchy. The first title is okay. It is telling, it is meeting the requirement, but not much catchy. But still, okay, it is describing what is expected. Second title, it partly describes the topic, but does not give any information of the method of the study. It could be simply theoretical or opinion piece. Okay. Third title is catchier, but gives almost no information about the article. Fourth title begins with catchy main title and is followed by a subtitle that gives the information about the content and the method of the study. So, now you decide what you like. Okay, if you want to convey your topic correctly, you can choose the 4th title. Okay, all the things are included in this 4th title. Then the next title comes, next component of our research comes introduction. Okay, what is introduction? Introduction is initial pitch of an idea. Okay, it sets the scene and puts the research in context. The introduction should be designed to create interest in the reader. It should be written in such a way that it creates interest in the research. When I ask you, introduce yourself. And if you introduce yourself that I'm Sarita Pednekar and I study in FIBSc, that doesn't create any interest in me about you. But then if you say, hi, it's Sarita Pednekar, I'm student of National College and I study in FIBSC. These are my subjects, and yes, I would like to pursue my higher education in so and so. Of course, then it creates interest in me about you. So it should create interest of the reader in you. It should address the significance of the study. Okay. Introduction may include the literature to support your thoughts. Okay. Sometimes the literature is a part of the introduction itself. So that depends upon requirement. But in the research, you are pitching your idea. This is the first place you are putting your idea strongly that yes, this is the thought behind. Okay. And you are creating interest in the reader. Literature review. Now, this literature review are all the sources of scientific evidences pertaining to the topic in interest. Whichever topic you have taken, what are the scientific evidences for what you say? Don't say that this is my own novel idea and there isn't any literature existing. You cannot say so. Okay, I know the students say that way. नहीं मैडम ये तो पूरा का पूरा नॉवेल आइडिया है, पूरा हमारा है. नहीं, उसके लिए जो भी see to get the idea, you may find something in literature that there nobody has looked, like to bring it to the notice of the reader that nobody has looked at this topic. You have to still give the literature refutes, literature evidences. कि इसने काम किया, but he has looked in this aspect. The other person worked, but he had looked to this aspect. Okay. Say for example, if this is a topic related to the some device which is helpful for the farmer. तो farmer के इस issue को consider किया, इस issue को consider किया, इस issue को consider किया. But then there is a particular issue which is not addressed by the others. उसके लिए भी आपको literature देखना पड़ेगा ना. किसने क्या क्या किया वो लिखना पड़ेगा. So that comes in a literature review, highlighting the details of pertinent to the topic of the interest, more general to more focused study. Okay, literature review is also again a elaborate topic, but yes, you read, and while putting those ideas in the proposal, you begin with the broader concept and narrow down, bring it down to your topic. Okay. If you are doing hematological studies, you want to see the relation between the hemoglobin and inclusion of a certain nutrient in the diet. Okay. Sudden hypothesis I have made that if a certain ingredient is added to my diet, hemoglobin increases. तो उसके लिए मुझे there are n number of research papers you will find. Just I have put up the ideas and you can Google and you can find out कि किस किसने क्या क्या कहा है. Okay, so you can go to very old literature, old research papers, international research paper. And then you can narrow down international to national, old to new, very broad ideas ki ye khao, ye khao, ye khao, ye khao. So many things are given in the literature ki include these things in your diet, and then you come narrow down ki isme se ye important nutrient hai, isko add karne se hemoglobin itna badhta hai. Ye combination, if this formulation is used, hemoglobin increases this level. Just randomly I'm speaking. Huh? But then you can narrow down the thought this way. But then nobody has looked, then I can say that I will find the gap. कि सबने ये सब बोला है, but किसी एक component को include करके hemoglobin increase होता है, ये किसी ने नहीं बोला है. मैं बोल रही हूँ. That becomes my novel thought. Okay, I don't know how feasible it is, whether it is feasible or not. I'm just standing in front of you and randomly something is creating in my mind and I'm talking to you. But this, I want to tell you why literature review and how it can be narrowed down. And yes, when you write the introduction, when you do the literature review, then you can say rationale. What is the need of the research? सबने किया लेकिन किसी ने ये नहीं किया. अगर ये करते हैं, if the people do this way, okay. So instead of making formulation, I'm just saying one component of the diet for which any people, any poor person also can afford. So that is how I'll be convincing. That is rational. The reason behind to take the study. It is novel. There I am again strongly insisting. That becomes my rationale. Okay. So rationale, then you have to write a rationale. The flow, the enthusiasm that I am saying, that has to come over there, but in very formal way. Okay. Without having wordy statements, without having any jargons. You have to write a rationale. Then comes aims and objectives. Of course, your research have aim, which is a broad indication. And then there are objectives which are related to the statement of your problem, statement of the problem or the object or your aim. These objectives are nothing but the milestones. To achieve your aim, what are the milestones that you will be having? Because you cannot jump directly to your broad indication. To achieve it, you have to follow some steps. You have to sort out, or you have to meet the certain steps. So objectives are those milestones. Always set objectives which are achievable. The objectives should be achievable. I give you an example. Students come with making some device. Say there is some device which will be helpful for the blind people. Okay. And they have made some aim based on that. And then their objective comes like making a prototype of a device, testing the device. That is their second milestone. That becomes their second objectives. And its application to solve the issue of the blind. But then application also you should study. You should actually use it with the blind people, and you have to see that how it is solving their issues. Okay, then only you can include it. So whatever your objective is, that should be achievable. And when you write the objective, it should start with the action verb. To meet, to understand, to analyze. Now here you can write the action verb. Here is the example. The research title is Effect of Organizational Culture on Business Profitability, a case study of Virgin Atlantic. This is the research title or the aim. This is your research title. The aim is to assess the effect of Virgin Atlantic organizational culture on business profitability. But the aim need not be start with the action verb. Yes, but this is the aim which is very much relevant to your topic. Yes. And the examples here, the example of the objective is like to meet that objective, also to meet that aim. You can formulate the objective like this: to conduct a survey of local politicians to solicit responses, to conduct desk research of local government website to create a database of local energy policy, to interview national policy politician to understand impact this local policies have had, to code the data using a book derived from dominant theories of governance. These are your objectives. Okay, to do this, to do that, to the milestones. I said the milestones these are. I had taken the example which might not be suitable for undergraduate, But yes, just I want to tell you, okay, you have to set the milestones. Then comes the hypothesis. And I tell you that hypothesis need not be a part of every study. Okay. Generally for social sciences, the epidemiological studies, the hypothesis is written. This hypothesis is nothing but a tentative answer to the research question. It happens, it does not happen. If this is so and so thing is done, there will be no impact on the farmers. That is my tentative answer. Okay. Or there will be positive impact on the farmers. Tentative answer to the research question. It is a learned guess. You are just guessing. Learned guess I have written. Okay. It is a guess. But the guess is made on existing literature, existing knowledge. Hypothesis must be testable. Whatever you are guessing, to test that, you are designing your research. Okay. So your hypothesis must be testable. Generally, hypotheses are written of two types: null hypothesis and the alternate hypothesis. Okay. So null hypothesis here, one example I have given: the number of lectures attended by first year students has no effect on their final examination score. Okay. And the alternate hypothesis is the number of lectures attended by final year students has positive effect on their final exam scores. So that becomes hypothesis of some of your study that you have taken. So hypothesis could be the part of your research proposal. Then you have to write research design, method, methodology, plan, whatever it is worded as. But then the next step comes about research design, which indicates the methods, the resources that you are using. What is the method you are applying to complete the study? So your whole plan, your research design, you have to write in the proposal. Okay. The experiment will be conducted by using the methods, standard methods given in so and so book. That you can write. You cannot read, you need not write the complete procedure. You need not write the complete protocol. You can just write that which method you are applying. Okay. Rigor of the research is based on the method applied and the study design, because the research method that you are applying should be reproducible and it should give you concrete results. And that is why it is said that the strength of the research, the rigor of the research is based on the methods you are applying. The standardized methods, the proven methods you should apply. The study design, if you are doing survey, the inclusion criteria, the exclusion criteria, the definition of your problem, the sample size, it will tell you that how concrete results you are getting. And that is why research design is important. When you design the research method, and you are writing that research method, because everything what you are doing, you have to give a write-up in the proposal. So there should not be any bias. When you are framing the questionnaire, when you are doing the survey, it should not have any bias. And that's why exclusion criteria, inclusion criteria, definition has to be the part of your research design. Okay, definition means what? Say, for example, I'm creating the, I'm designing a research proposal for the study of effect of lockdown on employment. Of course, the title I have given here is very vague. But then let me define here employment. Okay, employment can be defined in different ways. If I'm not getting a job of my caliber, then also I will define it as an unemployment. Okay, getting any job is an employment, or getting job of any job of your caliber is employment, that you need to define here. Okay, so that the bias is not created. Otherwise, it leads to bias. Questionnaire you are framing, it should not create a bias in the mind of a subject who is going to answer your question. Isn't it? If your tone changes, was it very difficult to get day-to-day resources in the lockdown period? Some random question I have framed. Okay, yes or no? Neutral question. Isn't it difficult to get the day-to-day resources? Isn't it? Bola to so reader will always think कि हाँ यार problem तो था, तो bias हो जाता है. Okay, there are many kinds of bias also. Follow universally accepted methods itself when you design your research and when you write your research proposal. Sample design, how you are selecting your sample, specify it. Okay, that is needed if you are doing survey. If you are doing some laboratory studies, so for laboratory study also sometimes there is a sample designing. Suppose you are doing some plant extraction, so from where you are getting your sample, that could be the part of, because that also a geographic area when varies, the component of the active component of that extract you are making also may vary. Just let me plug in my device. It shows battery is low. Yes, just excuse me for a while. Yeah. So mention your sample design, how you are going to collect the data, unethical consideration if needed. So say for example, if I am doing animal, you need not write ethical consideration. But yes, ethical consideration is a part of your design. Like if you are doing survey of transgender, at least you have to mention that all ethical guidelines will be followed. If you are doing animal experiment on the animals, you have to mention that whatever guidelines given will be followed in the study while selecting your subjects and all. So, but then ethical consideration matters. If you are collecting your data regarding some disease or something, so that you have to make the announcement in the proposal that it will follow all the ethical guidelines, because you should not reveal the identity of a person to whom you are surveying, interviewing, or any sample if you are collecting. You should not create injury, or you should not hurt a person. So your design, questionnaire, or the kind of interview should be framed in that way. Then you have to write expected outcome. Okay. What is, after you do this, what will be results? What you interpret, what you think that the answers would be like so and so, your product will be so and so. So that tells you about the expected outcome. It is an explanation of how proposal will address the new shown in the statement of the problem. Okay. An explanation of the benefits that will be realized if the proposal is accepted. So you can glorify over there that if the proposal is accepted, so and so model can be created which will address so and so issue. That can be your expected outcome. Clear information about who will benefit and how they will be benefited. That comes in your expected outcome. Okay, clear idea that Yes, if so and so product is made, these are the beneficiaries and they will be benefited in this way. Some expected outcome sections also indicate what might happen if the proposal is not accepted. That also you can say, if the work is not done, so and so sector of the society will remain neglected. That also you can write. You can, after all, you have to convince the reader that yes, this work is also equally important. Many people from my field itself, zoology field itself, or biology field itself, they keep saying that only applied research is accepted and so and so. No, you convince now. If this survey is not done, because this area is not surveyed before, if this survey is not done, itna sector ko harm ho raha hai. When the loss that would happen is bigger, then of course your project will be taken care of. Most expected outcome sections are written in either the future tense or with the conditional words like would be. Okay, this also you can keep in mind. And it should be relevant to the aim and the objective. Whatever outcome you are giving, it should be relevant to your aims and objectives. I'm towards the end. Hope I'm not stretching it a lot.
No, no problem.
First, benefit analysis. You have to give. It could be the part, yes, not necessarily, but yes, it could be the part of your proposal if required by the sponsor. You have to give cost benefit analysis. If you are doing this survey or if you are making this device, the cost incurred is so and so. Considering all marketing and finishing of the product and all those kind of things, the cost reaches so and so. If the gross production is done, the cost would be so and so. And that in turn of that, what are the benefits you are getting? Sometimes the cost that is initial cost that is incurred appears to be high, but at the same time, the benefits that you are getting are more. Then of course the initial cost is, or cost can be neglected. That way also you can justify, or you can say that available market products have this so and so cost and your product is so and so cost. But then there would be many of my students saying that madam I'm doing some lab work, to usme se kya karu? In the lab also you are making some product, you are standardizing some method. So existing method might be harmful, it might not be green method, it might require more costlier chemicals or the chemicals which are toxic. You can give the, you can replace the same with the non-toxic chemical. Okay. But in so many ways, you can give the cost benefit analysis. And of course, the last part comes, that is the references, which are must. Nothing comes, I mean to say ki nothing comes abruptly. It is creating something based on which is already existing. Okay. So references are must. Reference could be the procedure that you are following. It could be for the thought that you are getting. It must be, it can come for the discussion ki kisi ne aur kiya, you got some result. Somebody had already evaluated something which is very relevant, but it is not as you got it, or you got it which is in accordance with what is previously recorded, whatever it is, for discussion, for getting your research ideas, to standardize your methodology, you need referencing. So it is must. What style of referencing is used? So there are several styles of referencing. MLA, APA, Harvard, Vancouver, Oxford, so many names are there. You follow any of the style and stuck to it. follow the same style throughout the proposal. Okay, you can have, I can suggest to your teacher to have one particular session on referencing or literature review itself. Okay, but that is important. You follow the same style, and references are important. You put only important and relevant references, because in the beginning itself we have seen that you should not give inappropriate things in your introduction, in your write-up, not in introduction, in the write-up itself. Okay, so जो relevant है आपके work के लिए वो ही references का list proposal में दिया जाता है. And yes, I forgot to add the slide of the thanks, but then this is how you come to the end of your proposal. Okay,
Yes.
I hope whatever I have said will help you in writing the proposal. This is what I could give you in the given time, and I'll be happier to stay connected with you. I thank organizer for giving me opportunity and getting connected with the students. Thank
Yes,
you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Meenakshi ma'am. And dear student, now session is open for if you have any question, you can please write your question in chat box. Then I will take one by one.
Yeah, I stop sharing now. Huh?
Yes, yes, yes. Dear student, now session is open for question and answer. If you have any query, questions or suggestion, you can please type in chat box. I will take one by one. Ma'am, there is one question. I will read from Sankesh. He is our TYBSc physics student, and question is it good to publish the research before patent?
Yeah, we are here speaking about the writing proposal, but he came to publication. If you are
Yes.
doing patenting, if you are filing a patent, don't publish it. No, then publishing means you are revealing everything into it.
Okay, okay. Yes.
So if you are going for patenting, don't publish the paper.
Okay, okay. Yes. Thank you, Sankesh. Next question is from Sydney Rodriguez. He is our TY BCom computer student, and question is, would really like to see a session on research proposal from startup perspective.
Oh, yeah, that could be organized for startup perspective. If you are writing, then you have to have some preliminary work done before, and then you can look for the funders, and then you can write the proposals to them. Of course, the main component usually remain the same. I don't think that they change. I think that is what I could answer for this question. There are many teachers also in this forum. Teachers, you also can add into it.
Yes, yes.
As long as my knowledge persists, yeah, I can tell this thing.
Yes, thank you, Sydney. Yes, any questions? Dear student, please ask if you have any questions or query or suggestion. Please. I think, ma'am, there is no question from our student side. Now,
what shall I take it? Shall I take it as that they were
you,
all understood?
Yes,
shall
yes.
I take it that they were sleeping?
No, 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 no. We can take positively. Okay.
Yeah, should be positive.
First, I'll check. Is there any question from our student side? I think there is. Yes, sir. Kaizat sir. Any question, queries, or suggestion? Dear student. Okay. Now, Priya Nandakumar will proceed for vote of thanks. Priya. Hello, Priya.
Yes, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, yes. You are audible.
Good evening, all. On behalf of the IQAC, IIC, and DBT, and also the Department of Physics and Accounting, I, Priyananda Kumar, would like to thank the speaker for this great lecture, Dr. Meenakshi Gaurav. Ma'am, it was an absolute honor to have you here. Thank you so much for such a knowledgeable session. Thank you for giving us a precious time. I would also like to thank my principal, Dr. Neha Jatiani, for a constant motivation. I would also like to thank our vice principal, teachers, all the students present here for this lecture. Thank you everyone and have a great day.
Yes. Thank you, Priya. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Lata madam, good evening.
Good evening.
So I thank everyone. I think it's all end.
Yes, yes.
Can
Thank
I
you so much.
exit the meet?
Yes, thank you so much, ma'am.
I once again thank all the students and the teachers and especially Milind sir for inviting me. Thanks a lot.